What's up, everybody? Alessandro here from Tony'sPicks.com. We're getting ready to break down this UFC 317 card this weekend on pay-per-view. Super pumped for this one. We got Topuria versus Oliveira. Topuria trying to be double champ. 10th guy to do it. Will he? We're about to get into it, guys. But first, last weekend we went 3-1 on that UFC Baku card. Had a really good weekend. I avoided the main event. I was going to bet on Roundtree, so it would have been 4-1. But I decided to get off of it. I had cold feet. I thought Jamal Hill could keep the fight, at his range. And so I stayed away. Fiziev was the last fight I cashed. That was a nice one as well. Saw that one all the way. Just way more power. And, just a great fight from Rafael Fiziev to get it done for us there. Top off the 3-1 day. Yeah, hoping to do something similar here in this UFC card here this weekend. Super excited for it. Looking to make us tons of money. And, without further notice, first fight is minus 350, Jhonata Diniz versus plus 260, Alvin Hines. Hines is a guy first making his UFC debut. 7-0, LFA experience, not a bad promotion. He's only been to the judges once in his 7 fights. He's only had to go to decision one time, all by knockout. He does have a couple submission wins first couple fights against, some cans when you start your career off. The size, reach, and skill advantage and the UFC experience, those clearly going to be on Jhonata Diniz's side here. I don't see how he doesn't stop Alvin Hines. I think, Dana's giving him this shot here, see how good he does. Doesn't even expect him to win, but if he puts up a good, entertaining fight, slugs it out with Diniz, even if he gets finished, as long as it's entertaining, I think Dana will give him another shot. I lean Diniz here by knockout. Round 2, if we can start seeing some of these lines, it'd be nice. But I'm expecting around round 2, round 3 for some huge plus money there. For the first fight of the night, give me Jhonata Diniz by TKO. Up next, we got Jacobe Smith versus Niko Price. This fight right here is really, really out of our price range. Minus 2,500 I'm seeing for Jacobe Smith and plus 1,200 for Niko Price. I mean, Niko Price has been just really just a shell of himself since, going on 4 or 5 years now, really. He's very entertaining. He's a fan favorite type fighter. Always goes out and either gets finished or gets the finish. And, fight of the night type fighter he is. But he's just not the same type of fighter he was when he first came on the scene. I mean, it's totally normal. Just the miles on your body. He's, 35, 36 years old now. He's fighting a much younger, fresher fighter in Jacobe Smith, who's, 10-0, 8 of them by finish. Almost all of them by finish, pretty much. And he's barely getting out of the second round in these. So I don't worry about the gas tank with him, though. He looks in shape. He's very big for this weight class, 6'2", 6'3". For 170 is going to be big. And then he has that wrestling background and pedigree. Obviously, it's Jacobe Smith or nothing here, but who's going to bet minus 2,500? I don't see Niko Price getting to the end of the fight. This one's just a pure pass for me. I mean, I don't know how you can bet on this fight. I think Jacobe Smith by finish will be like minus 500, minus 600. And I don't know, whatever floats your guys' boat. On to the next fight. We got Terrance McKinney versus Slavakaz, baby. Viacheslav Borshchev. You got minus 180 for Terrance McKinney, and you got plus 150 for Borshchev. This is going to be a fun one. I lean McKinney early in the fight. He's going to be explosive and the better athlete, the younger fighter. I do think he has, some sneaky good wrestling in his back pocket here. Early in the fight, it's going to be scary for Slavakaz, but as this fight wears on, I see Slavakaz starting to get his way. And I've never trusted McKinney. I've never liked betting on Terrance McKinney because he gets finished all the time and in the most epic ways. He's been knocked out multiple times now in his career. And then you look at Slavakaz, who's never been knocked out in his career. Something to think about. The plus money at plus 150 with Slavakaz is where I'm looking. But it's scary because McKinney in that first round is very, very scary and can definitely get a knockout. It's tough fight to call. If I had to bet on this one, I would just take Slavakaz by decision, or just plus 150 if you just want to take the plus 150 money line. But you're talking maybe plus 300, plus 400 for Slavakaz to win by decision. So Slavikovs are pass for me. But yeah, I'm scared of that McKinney first round, pretty much. On to the next one. We got Viviane Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez is minus 260 in this fight. Arroyo's plus 210. Araujo, 38 years old, 7-5 in the UFC. A lot of fights that could have gone her way, but just, she finds a way to lose them. I don't know if it's a cardio thing or, she loses a round and gets down on herself. Just a lot of decisions that she could have won, and she kind of left in the judges' hands. And, it's burned her in her career, 7-5, and hasn't really had a breakout performance that, has put her on the map. This is an opportunity for her, facing a girl like Tracy Cortez, who, she's verging on the O'Malley type path with her career on, model type, Instagram. And I don't know, I like these people that are more cut from a different cloth. Just all they care about is fighting. Fighting is their life. I don't know. To me, she seems like she has one step out already. I mean, she hasn't really even done much in her career. She lost her pro debut. Then she goes on an 11-fight win streak, and she fought some of the who's who in the UFC. So it's, it's impressive to win 11 fights in a row. But then she got a big step up in competition against Rose Namajunas and laid a big goose egg. Laid a big goose egg against Rose Namajunas. And, Rose is a UFC Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, but I was expecting a lot more out of Tracy Cortez. I was expecting the wrestling to come out, and it wasn't there. All she was just a heavy bag, really, for Rose to pick apart at all night. It was an easy win for Rose, and I don't know. Something's telling me, everybody thinks this is going to be just another easy win for Cortez, get her back on track. Arroyo's not going to go away easy. It's going to be just a 3-round fight. Something tells me Araujo at this plus price is probably the place to bet. I don't know if I'm running to the window necessarily to bet it. But I know Araujo, 3.5-inch reach advantage. She is an inch shorter. And Cortez is trying to wrestle. It's always tougher to wrestle a person that's shorter than you. I would go Araujo or pass here, plus 210. On to the next fight. You got minus 160 Jose Delgado versus plus 135 Hyder Amil. Hyder Amil, he's repping the scrap pack. Diaz, Jake Shields, all those guys, and Gilbert Melendez. That gym was the who's who in like 2009. But, unfortunately, we're in 2025. And, they haven't been putting out guys recently that, are of those caliber. They're kind of living off the name of what those guys built. And I'm sure those guys would even tell you that. They've taken some chances on, Chelsea Chandler to come through that gym. And, female fighter. She hasn't really done much, clearly. Nick Maximov, I remember him coming out. Everybody was thinking he was going to be something out of the scrap pack. And now it's this Hyder Amil guy. The thing is, I think this guy's a lot different than those people. What is he, 11-1 or 11-0 in the UFC? This guy's for real. I mean, his last fight against William Gomez, he won by split decision. I did think he won that fight pretty convincingly. And a guy, again, in Delgado, who he's fighting, he's young, kind of a prospect type of situation here. This is not an easy draw for a prospect, if you ask me. I just don't see Hyder Amil going away. I don't see him making this an easy fight for Delgado. Delgado is, There's a guy on his record that I see that, is on a bunch of other fighters' records, and it's their debut fight or third, fourth fight, and it's just a padded win. And he has a couple of those type of guys on his record. That's always a red flag to me. The cardio, I feel like, will be there for him, for Delgado. He looks in shape. He looks like he does, what he's supposed to do. He's training hard every day. But I just got to lean Hyder Amil here at this plus 135 price and get a nice little upset win for us. On to the next fight. We got minus 200 Gregory Rodrigues versus plus 180 Jack Hermansson. RoboCop, baby. This guy is a Terminator. I mean, it's going to take a baseball bat to knock Rodrigues out. He's gigantic for this weight class. He's huge for this weight class. He's cutting 40, 50 pounds a couple weeks out from this 185 weight he has to make. He's sitting around 220, 225 on fight night. Just absolutely huge. Hermansson's going to come in a little bit smaller, obviously. Not that big, obviously. Very skillful, not that bad. Anywhere you look at him on the feet, he's okay. I saw him outstrike Chris Curtis using the kicks. that's one I always put in the back of my memory because I know he has something to offer on the feet to at least respect you, to make him respect him. But with his ground game, that's the main thing that he's going to try to implement is getting Rodrigues to the ground. And I don't see him being able to do that early in this fight. It's a little bit of the same thing that I see with McKinney, where he's just a better athlete, stronger, bigger. And when it's the first round and they're fresh, I just don't see how you're able to, outstrength Rodrigues and get it down to the ground. However, I do feel like if Rodrigues doesn't get Hermansson out of there, the fight's only going to start tipping in Hermansson's scale towards Hermansson's side. And I could see Hermansson maybe possibly getting a late takedown, late sub, arm triangle type situation on Rodrigues if Rodrigues gasses, because he has been known to gas with those massive weight cuts and all that muscle he carries on his frame. But I got to go RoboCop here. I think he starches him. I mean, this guy's on a freaking path to the belt, just knocking people out. He has lost a couple key fights, don't get me wrong, but I definitely think he has a shot at making it to this top 5 and making some noise in this 185-pound weight division. On to the next fight. We got Payton Talbott versus Felipe Lima. Felipe Lima sitting at minus 195 here. I clearly am leaning that way. Talbot got fraud checked last time out versus Raoni Barcelos, who, Barcelos did just beat Cody Garbrandt. Another good win for him, but these two guys in Talbot and Garbrandt might not be as good as we all think they are. That's what I'm starting to think here, because there's just no way a 38-year-old Barcelos is suddenly beating the who's who of this bantamweight division. And I don't know. It's hard for me to get to the window betting on Talbot in this fight as far as just flat-out experience. I feel like Felipe Lima has more experience as well, 14-1 versus 9-1. He has 5-round experience, Felipe Lima. He's fought for a 5-round title before. I believe that was in the LFA, so another decent feeder type promotion for the UFC. So yeah, I like Lima a lot in this fight. I think he can get it done. Talbot's obviously going to be a good athlete in there. He's going to have a little bit of size and reach advantage on Lima. But I question that dog in him, man. And we saw it in that last fight against Barcelos. If Barcelos is out dogging you, then a guy like Felipe Lima, a mean Brazilian who's coming out here with nothing to lose, and he wants that check just as bad as him. I don't know. I'm going to go Felipe Lima there by knockout. I think he gets it done over Talbot. Talbot's, he's going to be in the UFC for a while. He's got a lot of talent, but I just think he's going to be in a little bit of a rough patch, and he will eventually find his Chris Mutino or somebody like this to get him back on track. But I don't think Felipe Lima is the guy here. On to the next. We got Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Moicano sitting at minus 120. Beneil Dariush at an even price. Very, very tough fight to call, but not really, actually, if you take a step back and you look at it. At first, I was thinking, maybe Dariush could sneak in there and pull a win out. That's what was making me go back and forth. But, Renato Moicano's been more active recently. He is a couple years younger. Oh, no, they're both 36 years old, excuse me. But Moicano has, a little bit less UFC experience, a little bit less miles on the body as Beneil Dariush. But Dariush, man, he's been off a 2-year layoff pretty much. He hasn't fought since December of 2023. I don't know. I see Dariush start slow off in this fight, which is, you don't want to do that against a guy like Moicano who's going to start off fast, trying to knock you out. So I see Moicano winning that first round, obviously. But, Moicano has a tendency to gas. He had a little bit of against the Makhachev, where everybody was giving him his roses for losing 5 rounds to 0. Whatever you guys want to call that. I wasn't impressed by that performance, and he clearly gassed in that fight. I could see him gassing here against Dariush. So everybody just jumping on the Money Moicano train is, I don't know. You have fun with that. I'm personally going to just stay away from this fight, but okay, forced to bet it. I can see why you're going Moicano, so I would go on Moicano. Just because Dariush has had that long layoff. Don't know how he's going to respond. So yeah, I go on Moicano, but it's nothing I'm rushing to the window to necessarily bet. For some reason, I can just see Dariush getting a takedown late, and if this fight hits the mat, I like Dariush. Dariush is a black belt, and he's been a black belt for the last 10 years. Moicano's black belt is not the same as Dariush's black belt. Let's just put it that way. If this fight hits the mat, I lean Dariush. Can he get it there is the question. On to the next. We got the co-main event here. Or no, excuse me. We're jumping ahead of ourselves here. We got Josh Van versus Brandon Royval. Royval sitting at plus 105 to even money. Josh Van's the slight favorite I'm seeing at minus 125. Now, Josh Van, 23-year-old kid, already got 8 UFC fights. He just fought 2 weeks ago against Bruno Silva and got a third-round TKO. It's a red flag to me. I mean, I know it's impressive how many fights and wins he's had already this young into his career, and already turning around and getting a fight again 2 weeks later. I don't know. Something tells me, though, Brandon Royval is not the guy you want to step up and do this against. I mean, Royval's fought the who's who. He's 1-1 against Moreno. He's lost both fights to Pantoja, but he was competitive in both of those fights. He lost a decision, got subbed once. I mean, some of your only losses are to the guys who've held the belt in this division. You know, you got to start looking Royval's way. Josh Van has not fought anybody of Brandon Royval's caliber so far. Royval's going to be sitting at 5'9". Josh Van's going to be sitting at 5'5". And if Josh Van was this impeccable wrestler, maybe I wouldn't even care that much. But, Josh Van is going to try to go out there and box. And boxing with a guy like Brandon Royval is only going to set you up to possibly get knocked out. To me, it's Brandon Royval all the way here. This is one I feel really good about. Like I said, that last fight with Moicano, I wasn't rushing to the window necessarily to go jump on Money Moicano. But this one, I am rushing to the window on Brandon Royval. I think he just gets it done. I could see him getting a finish any way he wants. Sub, knockout. I like Brandon Royval in this fight. On to the next in the co-main event. We got Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France. Pantoja sitting at the minus 250 price. He's defended his belt now 3 times. Starting to cement his name in the history books of this flyweight division. Obviously, he's got a way to go if you want to catch Demetrius Johnson. But, that's something in the back of his mind, I'm sure. He wants to keep reeling off these wins here. A guy like Kai Kara-France, he's going to keep it simple. He's going to try to go out there and knock you out with his boxing, his kickboxing. Trains out there at City Kickboxing with the Israel Adesanya and those guys. This gym never wrestles. They struggle with the wrestlers. I don't care who they want to fly in from Russia or whatever to come train with them for the next 6-8 weeks. It's not enough. Pantoja is going to simply just use this wrestling. He's going to find his holes in Kai Kara-France when he opens up too much. Shoot those takedowns. Eat that clock and win those rounds. A 50 to 45? I don't know about that. Maybe a 48, 47, 49, 46 type decision for Pantoja. Late sub, maybe, if Kai Kara-France just breaks. Kara-France is a tough guy, though. He's not just going to go out easy. I do see him swinging for the fences all 5 rounds. I don't expect the cardio to be an issue for either guy, really. But, I definitely see this one kind of going the distance, and I would lean Pantoja just with the wrestling there. On to the next fight, the main event. We got Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. If this fight was maybe, Topuria's young, so it's hard to say. But, for Oliveira, if this fight was maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe I could start looking Oliveira's way, especially at this plus 350 price that he's at. We got Topuria sitting at a minus 500 favorite. Minus 180 for Topuria to win by knockout. Almost no value betting on Topuria. But I am going to go to Topuria to win this fight by knockout here. I said earlier in the show, not in the show, but on one of these live morning shows earlier this week, to 2-teamer, maybe Topuria and Pantoja if you want. Just on the money line, that's around minus 140. Not too bad a juice. Or you can just simply touch Topuria by knockout and Pantoja by sub. That's going to be plus 4, plus 500 if you ask me. These lines are not out yet. It's hard to kind of tell. But Pantoja by sub, Topuria by knockout, you can start looking at that, or just simply just the 2-teamer and those. I don't know. Topuria's 16-0. He's steamrolling everybody. He's so good everywhere. There's no way Oliveira is going to jump on his back and choke him. There's no way Oliveira is going to out-wrestle Topuria. I see Topuria dominating the center of the octagon. I see Topuria knocking out Charles Oliveira if I'm calling it as I see it. I see Oliveira up against the fence, gassed around round 1 or 2, late round 1 or 2, maybe even 3. I can give Oliveira because he's tough, But I don't see Oliveira making it all 5 rounds with Topuria. It's just a matter of time before Topuria catches him. And he's on a special run right now. He's going to be the 10th person ever to do the double belt or double champ. 45 and 55. Makhachev's going up to 70, but that's a fight that's very interesting. I do think Makhachev clearly would win that. You know, he's a little bit bigger, obviously. And, you know, the wrestling is next level. Topuria, I think, could handle the wrestling, actually, and make it very hard for Makhachev. And if Makhachev is having to box with Topuria, that could be a very interesting fight. I don't care what weight it's at, 170, 185, 145. You know, these guys are probably the 2-3 best fighters in the world right here, Topuria and Makhachev. And I don't see anybody getting in front of the 27-year-old Topuria, who's in his prime right now, 16-0. He may, you know, win 4 or 5 more, establish himself at 155, and try to go up to 170 and do something that nobody's ever done before, and that's 3 belts, 3 different weight classes. Who he would be fighting at that point, maybe you hope Makhachev's not there anymore, obviously. Try to get another guy. Maybe Bilal Muhammad or somebody gets back in there. You could get that triple belt. But, no, yeah, it's Topuria all the way for me in this main event. A little freemium for you guys. Yeah, I hope you smash the books today, this weekend, you know, and make a ton of money. I'll give you guys a parlay here for the whole entire card. I haven't been doing that recently, so yeah, let me end this on a parlay for you guys. Let me see. Okay, so we'll go with Jhonata Diniz by knockout TKO. That's the very first fight of the night against the Alvin Hines, the newcomer. So Jhonata Diniz by knockout TKO. Viviane Araujo at plus 210. So right now you're sitting around plus 800 probably. I mean, fat plus money. There was one more. Oh, yeah. Brandon Royval at the even price. So now you're sitting at probably 16 or 20 to 1. And then you just sprinkle those 2, Pantoja and Topuria there at the end. That's like a 5-teamer I got for you guys. Probably sitting around like 25 or 30 to 1. 5 fights. Do what you want with that. It's going to be a good weekend. Let's enjoy it. Let's make some money. Peace.